Thank you to all of you for availing yourselves for this press briefing. It's going to be brief, and I stand here to address you as the media and all the people of our country. 2 days ago, on Friday, the 19th of July, the Public Protector released a report on an investigation into allegations that I, as President, violated the Executive Ethics Code as well as the Constitution. Since then, many South Africans have been calling, tweeting, and sending messages expressing concern about the findings and their implications for their country. I have decided that it is necessary that I should, as President, make a statement on the issue to address these concerns and reaffirm that the work that I was elected to do as President will continue as usual. So there should be no concern about the work of government. When I assumed office as President of the Republic in February last year, I undertook to work with all South Africans in bringing a decisive end to state capture, to turn the tide on corruption, and to restore the integrity as well as the credibility of our public institutions. Since then, as a country, we have made remarkable progress on many fronts. We have taken decisive measures to halt the abuse of public bodies for private gain. The Zondo Commission and the PIC Commission continue with their work. We are continuing to strengthen institutions like the National Prosecuting Authority, the South African Police Service, the Special Investigating Unit, the State Security Agency, and the South African Revenue Service. All these institutions had been negatively affected by what happened in the past, and the work to strengthen them and to restore them is ongoing. This work must continue, and it must be intensified if we are to rid our country of all forms of corruption and criminality. This requires, amongst other things, that we respect and strengthen and defend the institutions that have been established by our Constitution to support democracy and to safeguard the rights of our people. I must say categorically that the Public Protector is one such institution. It carries a constitutional responsibility to investigate any allegations of improper conduct in state affairs or public administration, as well as having the power to take remedial action. It is essential that the Public Protector enjoys the confidence of South Africans, that office acts impartially, without prejudice or favor, and that it is an office that is above reproach. It is essential that the Public Protector acts independently within the law and according to our Constitution. As I indicated on Friday, 19th July, the Public Protector released a report in which she concluded that I violated the Executive Code of Ethics and the Constitution. The findings of the Public Protector that she has made against me are very serious. They allege conduct that cannot and should not be taken lightly by anyone in our country. It should be a matter of concern for all South Africans that an office such as that of the Public Protector should make findings of such a nature against the head of state. It is therefore essential, as it should be in all investigations, that such findings are based on fact, that they have a sound legal basis, that they are rational, and that they have been arrived at through a fair, impartial, and lawful process. Unfortunately, the report released by the Public Protector falls short and fails to satisfy all these crucial requirements. After careful study, I have concluded that the report is fundamentally and irretrievably flawed. This is strongly confirmed by my legal representatives, who have equally studied the Public Protector's report very thoroughly. The report contains numerous factual inaccuracies of a material nature. The findings we have found are wrong in law, are irrational, and in some instances exceed the scope of the powers of the Public Protector. Furthermore, in failing to provide me with an opportunity to comment on the proposed remedial action, the Public Protector has violated the provisions of the Public Protector Act, the Constitution, and the principles of our common law. Now, given these deficiencies and consistent with our constitutional architecture, it is appropriate that the courts of our country make a final and impartial determination on this matter. I have therefore decided to seek an urgent judicial review of the Public Protector's report, its findings, and its remedial action. I have instructed my legal representatives to prepare an application to this effect as a matter of urgency. And given the gravity of this matter and appreciating the effect that these findings have on the standing and the credibility of both the President and the Public Protector, it is essential that the courts be given an opportunity to review the report and make a finding accordingly. I have decided to take this action not only to protect the rights that the Constitution affords me as a person, but also to preserve the integrity of the office that I occupy. I've decided to take this action not out of disrespect for the Public Protector as a crucial institution of our democracy, but in the expectation that the institution will ultimately be strengthened by an independent and impartial judicial review. My decision to seek a judicial review of this report should by no means be seen as a comment on the person who occupies the office, the competence or motives of the Public Protector. But this is motivated instead by a determination that the law should be applied correctly and consistently. I'm taking this action in the firm belief that the President of the Republic is not above the law, and nor is the Public Protector of the Republic also above the law. The Public Protector is equally bound by the law, and like the President, is answerable to the provisions of our Constitution. It is therefore appropriate that we place this matter before the courts and that the courts should be allowed to make a determination. In the meantime, we will continue with the urgent and critical tasks that are required to be embarked upon to grow our economy, to mobilize investments into South Africa, to create jobs and to reduce poverty. We will not be detracted from the great responsibility we have to advance the interests and the needs of all the people of our country. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll appreciate that a lot of the issues that are in the report will obviously be before the court, so the President will not be in a position to answer them. But we will take one round of 3 questions and ask the President to therefore respond afterwards. I see 3 hands. Perfect. Kanita, gentleman next to you, and Thulasizwe, you'll be the last one. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Kusela, and good evening, Mr. President. It's Konita Ante from the Sunday Times. Mr. President, the Public Protector raises in her report that, you were duty-bound to at least tell your boss at the time about these donations which was the former president, about these donations that you received. Politically, there's been a lot of commentary over the amount of money that was used in your campaign for the Nasrec conference. Are you going to take your party into your confidence and explain why you needed to raise so much of money for your CR17 campaign, number 1? Number 2, if you could just perhaps explain, besides the judicial review, what is your understanding about the remedial action? I know you've applied to the courts on a separate matter about this, but do you think that Parliament cannot act, considering that you will be taking this matter on review? Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Harding from BBC News. Mr. President, you said you will not be distracted, but clearly the events of the past week have been a distraction to many in this country, as you acknowledged. Could you perhaps address the issue of the fight back that people here are talking about, that there is a large part of the ANC that is determined to scupper your agenda and to push you out of power? Thank you.
Thank you, President Ramaphosa. Thulasizwe Semelane from Newsroom Africa. Perhaps to just add to Kanita's question about taking South Africa into your confidence, there's been this question about what you knew when. What do you have to say to South Africa beyond saying that the campaign was designed such that I didn't know? Why should we trust your word when you say you didn't know? That's the question. And then my second question has to do with, I know you're saying you're not commenting on the person who occupies the position of public protector, but the failures that you say are at play, do they point to malice, or do they point to a failure to do due diligence by the office? Let's not talk about the person.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Mr. President.
Thank you. Juanita, yes. Quite a bit of money was raised in the campaign, and this happens in all campaigns when people campaign for office, inside their own parties, as well as we campaign to be elected as members of public representatives. And the money is used for a variety of activities, such as traveling, such as meeting rooms, rallies, and so forth. So quite a lot of money is then required to cover the entire country. The question you ask is, why was so much money needed? And as it turns out, quite a bit of that money was used. In fact, nearly all of it was used for all the things that I have alluded to. And it so happens that you will find that nearly everyone who campaigned to become president of the ANC would have raised quite a bit of money. And it so happens that we may never really know. The only one that we know of now is the CR17 one. So, did I disclose to my boss then? No. There was no need for any one of those who were campaigning to disclose to each other, because there was some measure of competition that was on the go, and sometimes those who were raising money often went to the same source to raise money, and that is what is germane in all these campaigns. The ANC, obviously, being the type of organization it is, will want to discuss all these matters, and they will be discussed, as they should, because they are intra-party matters, they are organizational matters, and the ANC this time round in 2017 went through a very different type of campaigning for people to become president of the African National Congress. We'd never had a process like this before. So it has been raised that we should discuss precisely how all this happens. So time will come for us to discuss all this. What will the judicial review entail? That is to be worked out by the lawyers as the process is now underway. And what we are saying is that we would like an expedited review process so that we do not keep the country in limbo about these matters. The sooner this matter is addressed by our judiciary, the better. So when it comes to Parliament, we will need to see the the extent to which it will also need to impact on Parliament. But we would like an expedited, urgent judicial review of this matter. And the questions that will arise, of course, is whether there is a suspension, or will the expedited nature of it happen within the period that has been set by the public protector. That is a matter that will have to be discussed, and we will have to see how it plays itself out. Mr. Harding, about being distracted. What I spoke about is being distracted from doing the work that I was elected to do together with my colleagues in cabinet. We do not in any shape or form want all this to distract us from doing our work. I want to continue doing the work that I was elected for, and indeed this matter should never be a distraction. Now you talk about the fight back, the pushback. As president of the ANC, I remain firm on saying that we need to forge unity within the African National Congress and bring everybody into the crawl so that we address the needs of our people. Our people have urgent needs, and those needs, service delivery, unemployment, and otherwise, require that all of us speak with one voice, continue to act together in unison, and address all those challenges. Now, there may well be those who may not agree with this and that, and it is in the culture and the tradition of the ANC that I lead that we bring everyone into the crawl, everyone to work together. And working together is not a one-day event. It is a process, and we will want to continue working on this so that we continue forging unity. For without unity, we have disunity, we have destruction, and we will not be able to meet the needs of our people. Thulasizwe, you ask, what did I know? Of course, when the campaign started unfolding, and it was realized that money was needed to run the campaign. The campaign managers took a conscious decision where they said, you are the candidate, and we are going to be the managers of the campaign, and there will be a whole range of other people throughout the country who will also get involved in the campaign. On the ground, people will do a number of activities. They will raise money for meetings and so forth. You will never get to know about that. At the top level, we will go out and source funding for a number of activities. And of course, I knew that money was being sourced. But I was never told about the intricate issues that they got involved in. I never got to know all the other details that went into the funding of the campaign. Yes, I knew that money was being raised. And as we explain in our documents, I even went to the fundraising dinners and spoke at fundraising dinners and told them the vision that we had crafted for the South Africa that we wanted the African National Congress to lead. So, yes, there was knowledge, but the knowledge to a large extent was also limited. Now, there are things that you said point to the malaise. Oh, malice, yes, of course, now I realize. Whether the public protector is motivated by malice, I'm not going to comment on that, because I truly respect the office of the public protector, and from my own position as president, I have to respect all the offices of Chapter 9 institutions, and I will continue to do that, because I have deep respect for our Constitution, and when we have set up offices like those, and we have populated them with people who should head them, I will continue to respect those offices, and yes, even respect the people who occupy those offices. However, if we find, as we have found now, that there are flaws in some of their findings, our Constitution allows us to get those flaws adjudicated upon by the judiciary, and this is precisely what we are doing. So we are not commenting on her competence, we are not commenting on whether she has malice or whatever. We're just saying we want to be principled, and being principled means that we will be taking this report under review and approaching our courts, which we are allowed to do, to the judiciary to examine and pass any finding that they may have. Thank you very much.